Closed door.
Hey, hello. My name's Dustin, and today we're going to make a lemon raspberry cheesecake. Come along. To start, let me let you in on a secret. You can make any cheesecake you want. The only limit is your imagination, and it's fairly cheap. All you really need is a crust and your cheesecake base, and then you add the flavors you want. So the only difficulty may be pairing the flavors you want. In this case, I'm using a Fudge-o crust with the lemon raspberry filling. To start though, the crust. You need basically 1 cup of a crispy cookie crumb. If there's no icing in that cookie, you want to add maybe about 2 tablespoons of brown sugar and then 3 tablespoons of melted butter. And there's your crust. Fudge-o is what I'm using for this one. You can use Oreo, golden Oreo, any cookie you want, as long as it's crispy. So again, we're putting about 16 actually, cookies in this one. Let's do 18. Seal the bag, let some air out. And then take your rolling pin. When you're pulling the crumbs out of the bag, most of them will fall out, but if they get a little sticky, you can use a spatula to kind of force them out. When mixing, you may need to crush them up a little bit as you go on as well. So again, you get those little stragglers, like a pancake flipper or a spatula, and you can just force them into a corner, like baby. Nobody puts baby in a corner. You got your crust, spoon, and your melted butter. If you have crumbs, you can push them against the side and they'll break right up. Again, if you're using just a regular cookie without icing in it, ginger snaps work really good for things like pumpkin pie. But again, your imagination is your limit. But add some sugar to it if there's no icing. I like the icing cookies. My own personal preference. Not a have to, but I like them. If you want, again, you could add spices to this. My other favorite is pumpkin pie, so I'll add cinnamon to the crust. But again, whatever you think is good, give it a try. If you don't like it, try something else the next time, or fine-tune it. That's the only thing you can do at this point, once you start making your own cheesecakes, is just fine-tune between batches. The other thing I like with this recipe is it makes a smaller portion. Most cheesecakes recipes are going to use about maybe 4 to 3 boxes of cream cheese. I'm giving you a 2-box recipe. It makes it a little bit less, so you don't feel so fat and eat the whole thing like I tend to do. It's sticky and crunched up. Springform pan. The silver and dark is a non-stick one. If you're going to be cooking it, of course, make sure you're going to preheat your oven to like a dark non-stick like this, about 300 degrees Fahrenheit. If you're using a silver, maybe 325, 350. Once it's all together, you can put the crumbs into the bottom and just start spreading them out. You might feel like it's not enough, but it will spread out and meet the bottom of your 9-inch pan. This recipe, if you'll find to double it, you can double the crust if you want, but you don't have to if you're doubling the rest of it. Don't be afraid to use your fingers. Get a better feel for where the thick spots are. And look, it's all together, covering the bottom. You can cook it if you want, so that's maybe cook about 10 minutes. You don't have to, you can leave it like this. It cooks when it's actually cooking, so your choice. Myself, I'm going to put this in the fridge, makes it set a little bit. And then move on to the filling. So your basic cheesecake filling is very simple. It consists of 2 8-ounce blocks of cream cheese, pre-softened, a 3/4 cup of white sugar, 2.5 tablespoons of flour, and half a teaspoon of vanilla. That's all it takes. Once we've got that part together, we can make whatever cheesecake we want. But let's get this part down first. First, just add your cream cheese to your mixer. And you just want to beat that down. Once it has been beaten, just slowly add your sugar and your eggs. Add 1 egg at a time, of course. Just slowly adding my sugar. Let that mix for a bit. My mixer has a little bit of dead space in the bottom, so when I'm done, I'm going to scrape the sides, mix it all together, and let it mix some more. And they'll add the eggs one at a time until they're well beaten each. Now I'm going to add my eggs. Let each egg mix in well before adding the next. If you're not seeing any more yolk, go ahead and add your next egg. Add my flour again slowly. And my half a teaspoon of vanilla. So what I've got here is cheesecake flavored cheesecake. I could pour this into the crust, bake that, and I'd have cheesecake flavored cheesecake. At that point, if you want to, you can put any topping you want on it, and that's fine and all. But I like to be a little more creative. Putting topping on cheesecake, I don't know. It's creative in its own way, I suppose, but it just feels a little too elementary. Not that I'm a snob. I'm a super snob. In a redneck sort of way. So, you got this part. Now you'll start adding in your other portions. Again, 3/4 cup of any full flavored item that you feel is good enough on its own. Perfect. If it's something that's a little more stronger, like mint, you can make this a mint cheesecake. Make maybe again just a couple drops of mint extract. You're good to go. But again, strawberries. Cook down a cup of strawberries until they're thick like jam, and you got a strawberry cheesecake. For that, I recommend the golden Oreos, but you can do any sort of crust you want. So let's move on to my next step for our lemon raspberry cheesecake. This is a package of raspberries. I don't really know the size, I haven't really measured it, but I'm going to boil this down. Absolutely. Fudge-os are great because the kids love them too. Say hi, Elijah.
Hi!
Yay! So once you give your kids some cookies, you can go ahead on to the next step. So again, I just had a package of raspberries. If I was making a raspberry cheesecake, I would be adding this to the actual filling. In this case though, I'm doing a lemon cheesecake with a raspberry swirl. So I'm going to add that in, kind of mash up this a little bit into my little smashed up, and then we're going to go over to the stove and just kind of start cooking that down. Cooking about a medium heat, and just stirring. I'm going to let that heat up there just for a little bit. While it's heating up, we're going to get some lemon zest. So most of you watching this, I'm pretty sure you've cooked before. If you haven't, lemon zest is just the outside of the peel of a lemon. A small grater works good. There's zesters as well. Using the small grater works really well. And if you want to get some nice curls or some nice, actual zest to it, you could just go ahead and just start from the bottom of the lemon. And as you go down, curl the lemon to the top. You'll see we're taking the skin off the lemon. And we're getting some nice, pieces there. That lemon zest adds a scent as well as flavor. And as you well know, most of flavor is scent anyways. I want about a tablespoon of zest. So I want it to look nice. And I'll just go ahead and go like this. If you don't really care what this zest looks like, you can just go, and you're good to go. But I want some nicer looking zest. I might do some more zest to the top as well, but I want about a tablespoon of zest. I'm also going to get a tablespoon of lemon juice.
What are you doing to the lemon?
I'm zesting it. Say it together. You're not fully clean unless you're zest fully clean. So really about a whole lemon will probably get you what you need. If you really want to get the full tablespoon of zest, you can. If you're not getting off a full lemon, do another lemon. And lemon juice itself, we're not going to use too much in the actual cheesecake. We're going to use some though. But if you have leftover lemon, make lemonade. Because life just threw you lemons. Hurry up, let's make a cheesecake before you drive everybody away with these terrible, terrible jokes.
Go jump it and what are you going to
So I'm going to mix that into the batter once we're done here.
batter?
But let's go back to our raspberries. They should be heating up pretty nicely by now. So they got a pretty good... But basically I'm just boiling all the extra juice out. So of course you're stirring to keep it from burning. God, it'll look like jam. Actual jam has sugar in it, so more sugar. And tastes a lot better on its own. This is really good because there's sugar in the cheesecake. Yum, yum, yum. So I'm going to pour this into my cup because I'm going to use that for my swirl later. And that worked out to not quite half a cup. So I'll probably use about maybe 2 of those packages if I was looking to do an actual full raspberry cheesecake. So as an experiment, I did 1 lemon. And 1 lemon made about a tablespoon of zest. So there's my tablespoon of zest. And then I'm going to get my tablespoon of juice. I'm going to cut that in half. If you got a juicer, you can get that at any store, supermarket, whatever. If you're going to make lemonade, just a little side tip there, just, a little bit of lemon juice in a glass, add water, a little bit of sugar, and it's lemonade. About half a lemon gave us the tablespoon we wanted. And then you just mix again. After a little bit of taste testing, I moved on to the full lemon for lemon juice. It just tastes better that way to me. And cooking time should be fairly similar. It's not too runny. If it's more runny, you might want to change the cooking time, but this should be perfect. Okay, so you have your oven preheated at 300, 325, 350, whatever's appropriate for your pan and your oven and so forth. And we have our crust, which I was refrigerating. Didn't have to, but I felt like it. And I got my filling over there in the silver bowl. So we got our filling in there, and we just pour it in. Try to keep it in one pile so you get less air. Your cheesecake's going to crack on you. Unless you have some way getting all the air out, it's going to crack. That's why it cracks. Not because it's drying out on top, but because there's air inside. So you just go ahead and spread it out. One thing I've seen or heard you try to do the air out is to kind of just jiggle it. Whether that works or just drives your family crazy, I don't know. And the swirl. This is the hardest part. Make sure you got your jam, boiled down Russian raspberry dealy. Maybe it's a little bit more liquid than jam, but you basically want to do a spiral, working from the outside in as best you can. I probably should have done a bigger circle to begin with, but I didn't, so c'est la vie. I just put it up there.
Did you dump the stuff into here?
Yep, we dumped the stuff into here. So a better swirl would have more of a spiral. But basically just follow the spiral with a chopstick and go back and forth. Don't have to go very deep. If you go too deep, then of course you'll end up messing with your crust. So don't go deep. That's what she said. But go ahead and just, basically just chop your chopstick around and you'll get a swirl of sorts. Don't do it too much, otherwise it just mixes it in. Which wouldn't be bad, but you want a kind of more sort of swirled, marbled effect. Sorry about that, I ran out of memory. But here we are with our finished swirl. More of a marble, really. But once you got this together, you can put it in your oven. Your cook time's going to vary depending upon your elevation and your oven and so forth. Average time, about an hour and a half to hour and 3/4, maybe 2 hours. You'll know it's done when the center is nearly set, meaning it doesn't jiggle so much. It will probably be cracked. It just happens. No big deal. Cracks taste just as good. That's what she said. But yeah, let it cook. Once it's done cooking, cook for about let it cool in the refrigerator, maybe about 4 hours as a minimum. Overnight's even better. When you're done, of course, open the springform pan. That's that dealie right there. And bon appetit. Have fun eating. Bye-bye.